Hello everyone. The purpose of this Android presentation would be to let you know how you can provide input to your app and then eventually perform a computation. So emulator is running my program. So I will just provide the input over here, and here I provide the first input. I'm providing the second input, and now I'm going to click my button, and as I do that you will see that it will prompt you a toast message that will show you what is the result of this computation. Again, I'm pressing the add button. You can see a toast message popping up with the result. So you saw that as I provide the input, and even if I change the input as well, the reflection will be based. So based on your input, how you can perform this computation is what we are going to see. Okay, so let's get to the XML window first. Here it is the preview. Well, as you all know, every XML will be having a view group, and the view group which I have used over here is a linear layout. We also know that the orientation of a linear layout is always horizontal. That means one widget will be following the other widget. Okay, that means it will be appearing in a single row having multiple columns. So since my preview has got two rows and each row has got two columns, so for that reason I have to go for nesting, where the first linear layout, which has got default orientation as horizontal, remain as it is, and within that I have provided two widgets. Now let me tell you one more thing. In order to perform a function on this edit text, you have to give an ID, otherwise you won't be able to distinguish. So that's how my first linear layout was all about. Coming to the second linear layout, the same story. Two widgets on a single row. I will be creating them together within the linear layout, and to make it functional, the edit text need to provide an ID, and that's how these two innermost view groups are put together within the parent view group, which has a orientation or vertical. That's the reason each linear layout ends up in a new row. And at the end I have a button. The button has got an ID as well, and the button has also got a listener, action listener you can say, or even listener, that is on click. So as I will be clicking this particular button, it will give a call to this function called add. So that's how the XML file has been designed. Now switch over to our main activity, which is our Java file. So here we will be learning that the concept of edit text, which are my widgets, or you can say my view elements. See over here, these are the widgets category. So I've taken two edit text because the XML provided two edit text and they belong to the namespace Android widget edit text. Similarly, button is also belonging to the widget category, and toast message that will be generated where you saw the output. This output I'm referring to, this toast is also the part of widget family. Okay, so first thing first, declaration of the variable all has been done and the reference variable all has been done, but you need to associate your XML component with that of your Java. So for that reason we have to go for find view by ID, where I'm using r dot. Well, in my next video I will be referring about this r and what is R, but in this video I'm just sharing that this edit text belongs to the XML file, and this is the name which I have given in the XML. If you want to check it out over here, see it has a name called 81. So this 81 which I have given over here is getting referred with that of the Java file. So after the execution of these three lines, each file will be knowing each other. Remember, in the onCreate method we have a function called setContentView. So if I press my CTRL from the keyboard, and if I take my mouse pointer over here, if I click this, it takes me to the XML file. That means the Java file knows the XML file very well. Similarly, if I press the C over here, it will be taking me to the main activity. That means either side knows each other pretty well. Okay, so after the typecasting is done, now is the time when you will be defining the body of this function which you have mentioned over here. So if I click this function, it will bring me within the function. Well, before I define these four lines, let me make one thing very clear. Since you are coming to this function from a button, and since button belongs to the view element, hence it is very important that the function should have a parameter of type view. Okay, this has to be there. Well, you might be wondering what is the role of this function. Surely in the upcoming video I will be talking about this view, and in this regard let me tell you a little bit in advance, that is, this way, the way of defining this function is one of the way of accessing this button, but this is not the ultimate way. There are another way as well, which we will be seeing in the coming video, where I will be not writing this function on this on click, but still the button can be accessed, but it has a different tactics. So we will see in the next video. So let me define this method now. So what I have to do, I have to take the input from the user which is lying in my edit text, and this edit text has to fetch the value from it. And while you do that, you will be using something called get text, and with the help of toString. As we all know that toString belongs to the class object. Okay, yeah, I will be making a separate video on Java where I will be talking about the toString as well. Every class that we developed inherits the parent class as object, and within the object there are 11 methods are there. And in that 11 method, one of the method is called toString, which actually is used to fetch the value of the member variables. Okay, we will see that in the video. But for a while, let us consider that eventually, due to this particular statement, the value that was stored in the edit text actually gets retrieved. Now edit text is a memory block, so obviously it will occupy a buffer space, and for that reason it is by default string type. So whatever input I have provided in this edit text, it will be by default string type. So you need to perform a typecasting, and for that reason integer or parseInt comes in the picture. After you have done the typecasting, you already declare a variable over here in the form of xyz. So you are respectively storing those values over here in both the cases, and then you are performing the summation, and finally you are going to display the result. Well, there are different ways of displaying the result, and in this particular program I have taken the help of toast. So when you're working on toast, you give to call the make text function, and it will be taking exactly 3 arguments. The first argument tells is where exactly the output has been shown. The name of the file in which we are currently working is called main activity, so I have to write main activity.this. So whatever the class name it is, you will mention that class name. Second is the content, what you want to show. Over here, if you can see how to number. So it's a content that we are getting displayed over here. And finally, the duration. There are 2 types of duration. One is length long, another one is length short. If you are going for length long, it will be 5 seconds. Short will be having 3.5 seconds. And finally, after you have created all these 3 elements, you have to put them together into the show function, and only the message is going to pop, as you can see over here. Okay, so I believe this particular video gave you an idea that how to take input from the user, making use of edit text, and there will be a button which is responsible to fire an event, and for that reason you have to define a function. So in a nutshell, I try to define the user interaction with Android application, and surely in my next video I will be sharing few more in detail stuff, because I didn't talk much about this onCreate method that you did see over here by default. Okay, how these things are working and few more stuff we will be sharing it in the next video. I hope this thing is clear. If you have got any confusion, provide the comment section doubts. I will be clearing them in the next video, and few more stuff I will be discussing. Until then, have a nice time.